Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly to the residents of Tanjong Pagar GRC. This is quite unusual. We are doing a live rally. I believe the rest of the other political parties have chosen a different format, but we decided tonight to try to do our live rally speeches. And this is something that is a bit unusual because you can't get your adrenaline flowing without the crowds out there. Okay, but nevertheless, we try to do it. Okay, I think the first thing I want to touch on is that what's the difference between PSP candidates versus those other candidates out there? One of the things that we have done for this particular election is that we have actually presented our PSP candidates in 3D. What I mean by 3D? Okay, I'm sure you've seen the 2D cutouts, okay, of the policeman, stop thief and no crimes and all that. What we have in Singapore has traditionally been very shallow kind of images or details about the politicians that we have in our political system, right? So we know a lot about which university they go to, perhaps, and maybe which career they have adopted. But none of them actually, share very much about their family, their hobbies, and things they do, or well, at least in a very significant manner. So what we have done this time around is that we have actually did a series of videos called Up Close and Personal, right? Through this series of videos, we have actually presented our candidates in 3D so that for those that are interested and have the time, and I urge residents of Tanjong Pagar GRC, please spend a little bit more time. Your vote is very precious, right? You need to know who is going to be your member of parliament. Spend probably about maybe 4 or 5 hours in total. Go and understand all the 5 candidates, okay, in Tanjong Pagar GRC, why they do what they do and what is driving them, right? Because this is something that you need to know so that in future, when we engage you, you know where you come from, what is driving us. So that's something that, we have done that is different from the rest, right? And at this point in time, based on the videos and based on my interaction with all the other candidates in my team, I can assure you that all of us have heart and commitment, right? And that is one distinguishing trait that makes us different from the rest. Okay, allow me first to introduce Wendy. Okay, Wendy has actually been with the party, even the party, before the party was formed. In the early days before the party was registered, we had one thing called the Docs Planning Team, the DPG. So Wendy, together with most of the founders, or in fact all the founders, has been members of this DPG since before the party was registered. So we went through a process to discuss all the ideas, right, and register the party, okay, limited by 12. And then we went on, when the party was formed, to use this DPG to work out much of the basic foundation, okay, for the party. So Wendy has played a significant role to be part of DPG and to continue to work with the rest of the members that came in subsequent to that, right, in various activities. So one of the activity was that she actually chaired the National Day celebration dinner. So we did the party launch on 3rd August, okay, and by 26 August, okay, in just short, 20 odd days, 23 days, we took the entire ballroom for, our National Day celebration dinner and managed to get the entire ballroom, all the tickets, all 400 seats sold, right? So Wendy was responsible for doing that, okay? And what is most important about, beside her organizational and legal skills, is really Wendy is passionate about playing a part to improve the well-being of fellow Singaporeans. So she shared with us, in fact, she offered to bring us around during the night to look at how some of the homeless, okay, are taking shelter, refuge in the streets of Chinatown and all that. Because for most of us, okay, by midnight we are at home, right? We don't get to see what is happening out there on the streets. So she has the experience and she brought us around to allow us to understand, okay, the underclass within our society. So much about Wendy. Abbas, okay, has been our chief trainer. Okay, he has been conducting all the orientation classes that we've been doing, making sure that the new members are being brought in, okay, Abbas is a professional trainer. So when he conducts the training, he imparts the value of the party, okay, to all the new members so that they know what the party stands for, what the logo stands for, okay. And throughout this process, that's where it is very important that, you know, unlike most other places, okay, as a party, we have collectively been training all our new members and including our volunteers to understand why the party does what it does and what are the core values of the party. And that is something that's very important because as a party of more than 1,000 members and even more volunteers, it is important that all of us share common values and ideas, okay, so that we are not going off in different directions, right? Terence, I met him when he joined our second orientation class, okay? The moment he stand up and explained to the rest of the class, there were about 30 of them, okay, why he joined and why he wanted to make a difference in politics, that's when I know that Terence, okay, is a person that I would want to work with, okay? So very soon after that, managed to get Terence on his off day to come and join Doc, okay, for a coffee session. Okay, in PSP, we don't have tea session, we have coffee session. There's no tea really served at the, you know, Doc's house, but we have lots of coffee. So Terence joined us, had a coffee with Doc. But obviously, it is not so easy in the case of Terence. Terence has his flying commitment. And again, as a young person, there are a lot of doubts, okay, when you take on this challenge like that, okay? So we managed to work closely with Terence to understand what are the difficulties, and more importantly, okay, I must thank Singapore Airlines that, you know, they have been very flexible and forthcoming to support Terrence's effort to stand as candidate, okay, and even at this period, right, even as flying schedules are being resumed, SIA has allowed him to apply for no pay leave so that he can be fully committed to the entire campaign, okay. Beyond the campaign, we will look at what are the other issues for Terence to continue to be pilot or potentially look at other options as well. Harish, okay, is actually no stranger to those people in the open source movement. He started Red Hat Singapore, okay, and been involved in Linux and all the other very techy stuff, okay. But that is his professional and perhaps his hobby. Harish also was responsible as one of the founders for a group called Election Khakis. Okay, he was interested to understand how collectively, okay, we can strengthen the electoral system and democracy in Singapore. Okay, part of it is allaying the fears of voters in voting secrecy, right? So Harish, together with his friends, formed Election Khaki and tape certain videos to explain the election process so that people that are concerned about voting secrecy, concerned about the entire process of, you know, the voting process can be assured that voting is secret. Okay, that's how I got to know Harish at the end of last year, right? And Harish was very clear when he expressed his interest or when we invite him to join PSP. He said that, okay, will I be bound by the party whip? Okay, because to him, okay, it is important that as a future parliamentarian, will he be allowed to vote based on conscience, right? That is something that marks the difference between our candidates and those from the other party, okay? We agreed, yes, Harish, the only person in Singapore history, okay, on the ruling party to vote based on conscience or based on what is the right thing to do is Dr. Tanjong. So obviously, when we form PSP, okay, we understand that there may be occasions where potentially certain issues are sufficiently sensitive that we cannot, okay, have a unified position, and therefore candidates or MPs will have to vote according to their conscience, and that's Harish Pillai. Okay, so much for our team itself. Let me also touch a little bit about Kumaran. Kumaran is a good friend and advisor, right? He's an entrepreneur, and at the same time, he's also a journalist, okay? Being a journalist, he has actually made significant progress, okay, in his professional career as a journalist. And he has attended various journalism programs, including being in the US. And at this point in time, okay, based on his progress in this area, professional career, he's actually on track, right, to be considered as a Jefferson Fellow, which is, well, to some people, the pinnacle of journalism for professional journalists, okay? But by offering himself to stand as a candidate for Kebun Baru, what Kumaran is saying is that, okay, he is willing to forego, okay, this possibility to be considered as a Jefferson Fellow, right? He is willing to give up a prestigious award because for this award, one of the criteria is that the person being offered is not a politician. And by taking the step forward to offer himself to be a candidate for Kebun Baru, right, it is a very big step and a very big sacrifice, right? And at this point in time, I would say is that from this brief introduction, okay, you will know that the potential member of parliaments, okay, the candidates that are being offered for this election are, right, taking sacrifices, and they are real sacrifices. They are not, okay, you know, doing it for the sake of, you know, jobs in GLCs or what have you, right? They are taking a risk with their life, with their career to be of service to you.